Guys, look at this. While we're focused on tribal wars and diaspora wars, the world is eyeing Africa. Behind me is General Anderson. He's nominated to replace General Langley, and during a Senate meeting, he was talking about the value of Africa. He said China and Russia, they're heavily involved in Africa, and the future of the U.S. economy depends on U.S. involvement in Africa. Listen.
Why do we need to have presence in Africa? What is your thoughts?
Africa is the key to any strategy. It's just on strategic terrain because the waterways that it forms between the Straits of Gibraltar all the way down through the Suez Canal and the Red Sea. It is critical minerals and resources that are on the continent that we need for the future economy. Both China and Russia see their strategies going through the continent, and they are going to engage there. And so we can cede that ground or we can compete in that ground. And I think we have a very powerful tool to compete with. As Admiral Bradley mentioned, nobody brings more credibility to the counterterrorism fight than the U.S.
He said it himself. The routes in Africa, they are very strategic, and the critical minerals are important for the future economy. Russia and China, they've already been involved in Africa, and the U.S., they want to be involved as well. Instead of focusing on tribal wars and diaspora wars, we should focus on Africa. Everyone else, they know that it's the future, and we should be on board as well.
I'm making this video because I wanted to support Shay's Shelf, who is promoting a protest for August 1st. Complete blackout on African braiding shops, restaurants, and stores, right? I'm absolutely here for this. I'm showing my support because I do this in my everyday life. I do not shop with the Africans. Ain't no African ever braided my hair, put their hands in my head, or none of that, right? I don't do the restaurants. I stopped like years ago. I do not shop with their stores. If I walk into a store and I accidentally realize, not for me, right? So she's encouraging that we do an August 1st protest all through the month of August. I think it should continue throughout for the rest of the year, right? Let them really feel the heat, okay? Because they are confused about who they are, who we are, and what this is all about, right? They're so busy licking boots, they don't seem to want to give us our respect. They need a wake-up call, right? Because clearly they don't understand that the large majority of why you are even in the space that you're in is because of us, and that our dollars are the ones that pay your bills. Because we black them out. I want to see how many white people finna support y'all, right? I want to see how many of y'all businesses is really going to be able to stay afloat month after month of black people not supporting you, right? Like, let's really be about it. So in support of Shay's Shelf, I am even pushing past August, but it starts August 1st, okay? Complete, total blackout on Africans, period, okay? Let them know what time it is.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
Hey, ha. Yo, ya man, amen, oh, you take back here, you give me now your cool here. Let me tell them how the thing goes, how the thing goes. Okay. Chebe make a tamuwa, say my kina go drink God. You want to bamba, you wanna tea with the big boys. Now you the wrong, get the kitty, you the wrong, get a coffee drink with a chop cup. Hey, you can see how the thing goes. How the thing goes. Oh, you're telling me who and who. And who. Alright, take it easy, and let's behind the waist. Okay.
To my beautiful and amazing royals of Africa, Mbolo, Mbolwani, my dear royals, this is your queen, and Tiningon, second of the name, 17th generation crown queen of the Fangs, and of the amazing and beautiful diasporan Africans. Welcome, 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 my people. Addis Ababa, we are at war. Africans under attack in America. My people, today is not a good day. All right? It's not a good day. Let's get into it.
This box better than the box he was held in. I'm sodas. He like it when I get drunk, but I like it when he be sober. That's top of the top, but I never fuck with beginners. I let them play with my pussy, then lick it out with his fingers. I'm in
You got this brother here that immigrated to America from the continent, and you know he just taking issue with the issues in this country with the 14th Amendment. I don't know what it is about people that immigrate here. They really feel that they can be speaking on our history, our culture, and everything else. I don't get it, because I've been to several countries and our FBAs do not get involved with anybody's stuff. They don't. I don't see them get involved in their politics. I don't see them speaking on their personal issues. FBA just come in there, be respectful. They enjoy themselves. Even the ones that live there, right? They're not getting involved in any of their politics. But when it comes to the immigrants in this country, they feel like they got a right to get involved with our politics and don't even know what they're talking about a lot of times. Case in point, I want you to hear what this brother, and I use that very loosely, how he talking. I want you to hear what he has to say.
Okay. So, ever since Trump passed what he passed, right? The whole 6-3 judges and all that, I see a lot of FBA coming online celebrating, saying, turn in your passport, saying it's time for you to go home, saying Trump just solidified indigenous black Americans and their rights to the land and all that. So I'm just wondering, like, does this mean we have been arguing with dumb people called FBA? Because the whole basis of the argument was you said you're not African. You said you're indigenous to the land. You said you were here before the white man showed up with slaves. So why are you celebrating about an executive order, 14th Amendment, that was passed for slave children of slaves? I thought you're not from Africa, you're indigenous. So how are you a child of a slave then? How? You guys will celebrate anything, even your demise. I swear to God, you black Americans, anything the white man says, right? Contrary to Africans or any other person, you celebrate. Even if it is at your own detriment, you celebrate. Now FBAs are celebrating 14th Amendment for slave kids. And they say they were not slaves, they are indigenous. You guys need a hug, bro. You need a hug.
Know the real atrocity that it was and not try to compare people who are literally coming over here peacefully to try to seek a better life for themselves, the new colonizers. That's very audacious and nasty.
Ooh, it's a lot to unpack here, ladies and gentlemen. But let's go on and get into it. First and foremost, yes, we can tell the difference with a lot of you. We can. One of the telltale signs they say about you, ma'am, is your hairline. I was speaking about the boycott that some people were suggesting on TikTok, boycotting African businesses. Of course, that's still being talked about on that platform. And you have this African immigrant that's responding to some of that. But now she wants to take it much further than people saying, okay, well, I'm not going to patronize a business. She wants to take it to a place that, number one, would be illegal in the United States. But it's also something she said that really caught my attention as well about her homeland. But let's go ahead and check that out.
If only this reached the consensus of all African and Caribbeans, everybody from Jamaica, Trinidad, Haiti, and Africa, if this meet your consent, since the black American want to go to war, let's see. All of us that call out one day from work, all of us across the United States, all immigrants call out from work. Yes, if they want to go to war, let's see what they can prove. And also, all immigrants, like your businesses from all black Americans, simple as that. Don't let them go into your grocery store. Don't let them go into your restaurant. Don't let them go into your salon. You want to go to war? We will. The population of African in the United States is more than your black American population. Just so you know. That's the reason why 64% of the Democratic vote is immigrant. And out of that 64, 54 is black. So black America, you don't want to go to war with us. At this point, I don't care if you're a Democrat or if you're a Republican, because the stupid black Republicans that are being controlled by the white T brought this up. And it seems to be that some of you on the Democratic Party side are also getting along. So you want to pick that fight? We can do so. Yeah, we can ask our 54% vote to boycott the coming elections. Oh, yes, I can guarantee you, when we boycott it, you will have no seat. Don't play with us. We are calm. We don't intend to insult nobody. We don't look down on anybody. You went through pain. We went through pain. Yes, you went through slavery. We went through slavery in our own house. But we decided in Africa that we're going to put the past behind. We're going to fight for a better Africa.
Now, first of all, okay, all right. This woman here, no one has ever talked like her, talking about going to war. Okay, the people who are saying this about they don't want to deal with African businesses or restaurants, what they're saying is they're not going to just patronize it, right? There's no war. They just say it's not going to patronize it. At the end of the day, whether I agree with that or not, it's their money, their choice. That's any of us. Your money, your choice. I'm not getting no more in the weeds with that. But let's talk about what you're saying. Now you escalating it and talking about war. You fled here. If you're going to fight for Africa, you got to be in Africa. Every person fighting for Africa live there. They're there with all the issues, concerns, problems. They're fighting through it because they're fighting for Africa. So you can't mention about fighting for Africa at all. Okay, I don't even want to hear it out your mouth. That's not.
Il faut souvent rendre le mal par le mal. Comme ça, le mal va savoir que le mal fait mal. Peut-être le mal pourra arrêter de faire le mal.
Is our daughter wrong? No, she's not wrong. You should be grateful that she came and said out loud what all of us were thinking silently. Because many of us are leopards. Many of us are lions. Many of us are Black Panthers. We're big felines. And what you should know about us, we don't trumpet before we lip. Okay? We are human. So expect a counter-offensive if you attack us. Let me put it this way. We won't hold no loyalty to people who are seeking to destroy us when they should be the one protecting us, because we are in your turf. But just like I see in this reality show, Americans are the only ones savage enough to invite you and then attack you. Yeah, they would do. I've never seen such a thing in anybody's culture before. In fact, your guest, you must shelter your guest. You must protect him against all odds. Because in our culture, if something happens to you while you're visiting somebody, that person is liable for whatever happens to you. Your clan gonna unalive them if they touch you. But here in America, notice, you draw people in a position where they're weak. And another thing, another barbarity, another savagery you learn from your former master, you jump people. It's never anything fair. It's never any one-on-one. When you complain about how the police do us on the street, you guys act the same way around other people. So it's never a one-on-one. Even if it's spiritually, they choose to attack you. They're going to go and recruit their friends. They're going to go and recruit their cult, and all of them going to try to feast on you. So let's not play the victim here, okay? Because you're embarrassing all of us. No matter how much you reject us, the world knows where they stole you from.
Stop saying that some of these bootlickers be doing their ancestors a disservice. No, the fuck they don't. They ain't dishonoring their ancestors. They doing exactly what they ancestors. They come from a long line of tap dancers. They come from a long line of shiny shoes, bitch. So you ever wonder why you do some of the things you do? You sit up there and be like, I don't know why I fight the way I fight. I don't know why I'm pro my people like that. I don't know why I do that. I don't know why I stand up. That's from your ancestral line. Some of y'all come from ancestors that was motherfucking steppers, bitch. They will take a motherfucking neck. They don't give a damn who the fuck they took. They probably took hella slave masters' neck. Don't be believing that all your ancestors just rolling over and just accepting slavery, like and being a prisoner of war and all this other shit. None of them was. A lot of your ancestors weren't going for that shit. That's where you get it from. But then you got some of them who love to chuck and jive and tap dance. It's in their bloodline. If things is transferred through DNA, you don't think that's transferred in the motherfucking DNA? DNA is nothing but information. They act the way that they act because their ancestors was wearing them shiny shoes, tapping the floor, doing anything to please a cotton swab, doing anything, will sell out their own people just to get a whiff of somebody white. That is in their blood pool. So don't be sitting up there talking about you doing your ancestors a disservice. No, they probably making them proud. They probably making their people proud. Because that's what they did. That's what their ancestors did.
And of course, they get shocked that our children are fighting back. This guy, Phil Scott, when I started my activism, I went to him because of the name of his channel. I'm like, I have message to share with our people in the diaspora. But very quickly, I started noticing that this guy, every now and then, he would feel okay taking jabs at immigrants. I warned him. I'm like, I cannot be associated with a channel, a platform, which take digs at Africa. It's either we are one or we are not, simple as that. And I withdrew myself. Unfortunately, it kept going. I shared the video where he was pushing for the removal of Haitian in Detroit. I shared a few other videos of him clearly taking his stance. I even reached out to some of these Africans parading around his channel as if nothing. He insults Africans, he insults Caribbeans. He's basically creating an atmosphere of war that the enemy will have no choice but use to their advantage. There's him. There's another one agitator I will feature on this video who went and dug up a video of a Danish woman who was teaching the narrative they teach to all their kids. They never done anything wrong. Africans were selling their people. In that video, that woman described how 20, according to her, 20 unarmed white boys cracked the ACAM people and led them to sell all their people to the European. Now they are indoctrinating our children into hating themselves and hating their roots.
We're literally powerless on the coast of Ghana until after the English purchased the fort and brought in the standing army and then colonized them. Before that, they didn't have enough manpower. They had 20 dudes married off to some of these local women. That's all they had. See, it was African greed that kept the transatlantic slave trade going. The African greed, the desire for money, to put money above all things, that level of evil is why. Now let's keep listening to this conversation.
Make it into the sources either, is that they are so important, that they are both economically and socially on the higher end of the ladder, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't have a lot of sources to what people thought about the marriages who didn't participate in the trade or were part of the fort, or for those reasons are part of the written record of the fort. I have spent a lot of time thinking about it though. So in the 19th century, I have a few more references to it. In the 19th century, it seems to me that there's a picture, the pretty clear picture developing that some people really resented your Africans and their wealth and called them traitors for dealing with the Europeans, right?
It's so easy. Hey, ha. Boy, amen, amen, oh, you take bad hearing. You give me now your cool hearing. Let me tell them how the thing goes. How the thing goes. Okay. Chebe make a tamuwa. Say my cooking I go drink God. You want to bamba? You wanna tea with the big boys? Now you the wrong, get the kitty, you the wrong, get the coffee, drink with the chop cup. Hey, let me see how you thing goes. How you thing goes? Oh, you're telling me who Andrew?
All these agitators, their stupid group, they call FBA, those fearful of being African, yeah. We're there eating that poison because they'd rather learn from the enemy.
Trigger warning on this one. This one was sent to me by a mutual. For those of you who say that this is only online and will never carry out in person, this video is for you.
Go back to your motherfucking heritage. Stop playing with me. I wish death was part of y'all plan.
Hearing about so-called diaspora wars, and let me tell you something, I feel that all of that is baloney. Black Americans have never called for a diaspora war against other Africans at all. In fact, we have always been very supportive of other members of the diaspora.
Because the algorithm is a little tricky, I'm going to help you out with this one. Take a look at this.
Your motherfucking heritage. Stop playing with me.
Is this the example of support that you're talking about? Wishing to unalive people's families doesn't sound really supportive to me.
I think the thing that Black Americans really need to start doing in order to keep the others out of our events, we need to go back to at some of the events, you know? We need to. Because when I think about it, when the YNs, when they weren't really called YNs back in the day, when they were busy, some of the blocks, they were nowhere to be found. You know, sacrifices might need to be made.
Can you imagine if an African person says something like this? Now, if you guys didn't know, this is actually a federal crime in all seriousness. Look up 18 U.S. Code 875. This is a federal level crime that you guys on the internet just doing so casually. Maybe it's just me and I'm missing a certain chapter in this diaspora dispute, but when do people start physically threatening harm on each other?
Why African people don't like us? They go buy all meat at the grocery store. And y'all got to spend all damn day in the house trying to catch y'all shit, skin it, gut it, and boil it, and eat every damn thing other animal that you don't supposed to eat.
Are people under the impression that African people like racist and racial stereotypes projected towards them? Coming on the internet and boldly stating or implying that African people are so primitive that they don't even have grocery stores is a little bit diabolical to me. Sorry to be the one to break it to you, but you guys are not victims in this conversation.
I keep hearing
deserve reparations. Have y'all lost your entire minds? You are not finna co-op anything that Black people in America, descendants of slavery, descendants of chattel slavery, have gone through.
Where it is. But you as an African would not know that.
The FBA to white supremacist pipeline must be studied. The FBA to white supremacist pipeline must be recorded. Someone had compared FBA to Zionists, and I completely agree. There are articles available for everybody to read to learn about the AU and what their agenda is. The person who was fighting for African Americans to get reparations under the AU is an African American woman herself. When you read the article, if you get the chance, you will see that the AU is trying to fight for Africans to get their stolen artifacts back and possibly get reparations from Europe. Because if you didn't know, Europe colonized many parts of Africa and still has not paid for their atrocities. You can see the hate for Africans in this person's eyes, and you can feel the disdain that they have for Africans in the way that they speak. You can hear it in their voice. It makes me so uncomfortable, bro. I can't believe that we're even going through this with information available for us. I wish y'all healing, love, and light, because jeez.
Deserve reparations.
Americans are simply only doing it to Africans or African businesses just because they're African and just because they're immigrants. And then y'all like to frame it as if it's xenophobia.
Oh, okay. So it's African people who are framing this as xenophobia. We're framing it, you say. Okay.
I want to know what women is so desperate that they dating African men. We talking about a group of men that were so terrible at pleasing women, they just cut the dances they couldn't find it. She ain't needed.
This young lady is talking about FGM. I don't know what FGM has to do with the braiding shops, but apparently FGM is funny now.
I know all these young girls that had worked in the braiding shop and they weren't getting paid any money. And I remember I used to go in there and get my hair braided, and the guy would come in while the girls were braiding and collect all the money and then just leave. And I would see him doing that all the time. And they were basically being trafficked. And
This person is implying that all African breeding shops are actually human trafficking shops.
You want to boycott anything, bitch, boycott them strong ass fingers. Because y'all are responsible for the majority of African Americans not having edges. That's all y'all did was come over here.
Again, this has nothing to do with the braiding shops just jumping on an opportunity to attack Africans.
The video to show y'all where just watch this African woman explain to you why she's a parasite. Because that's all she just explained was parasitism.
This young man just called Africans parasites because a woman said in her video that her main purpose of coming to America and any foreign country is to work. I think this one is self-explanatory.
When we go to a business going forward, we look for all them little click-clacks, y'all must have. Yeah, we look for all that chewing-you and the doo-doo and the bobo and the moto.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but making fun of people's cultural names, is that not xenophobic?
Just because.
So I can't even enjoy my vacation, and then you look back, it's a fire. So in today's video, I will address what's going on, and I will try. Addis Ababa, you hear me? I will try to bring our people back into order, because what's going on here, it's appalling. All these agitators, those fearful of being African, yeah. Let me give you an advice, all of you agitator. Take this advice from the descendant of a former slave who rose to the throne of the kingdom, the descendant of a former slave just like you. So basically we have that in common, all right? Descendant of slaves. Another thing we have in common is that both of us fell in love with our masters, all right? In your case, you fell in love with your American masters. In my case, I fell in love with my Fang masters, all right? But the only difference between you and I, the savages you come from, compared to your situation, the savages you come from, when a servant or a slave, like the Western want to call them, is done with his contract. Because unlike your master, we don't keep you as a servant for eternity. You only get to serve for 7 years. After which your master sees you off with goods and everything you need to start your new life as a free man, as a free woman. But tradition also demands that if the slave prefers to stay in your house, okay, that slave becomes an integral part of your family. What does it mean? It puts that slave in the succession role with your kids, with your biological kids. Because in the eyes of the God of the Fang, Tatan Zambe, every soul's under your care. You are the father, just like our kings were our father, right? So this is how we are organized under, just so that everything is clear, okay? So an African slave has the potential to even be the heir or heiress of the throne. So according to you, following the logic of everything, people who come from such culture are capable of just taking their children and sell them for commodity, right? Our people in America are so disgruntled, are so disrespectful, and are so disgraceful, the thing they do to our collective as a black people. That hatred of self that fades you is just embarrassing. Of all people you could ask, you love to learn from the enemy, don't you? Because somewhere deep down in your psyche, you view him or her as a parent, not as a master anymore, as a parent. I know what I'm talking about. I'm just like you, who fell in love with my master. So I'm not here to try to convert any of you into an African. I want to make sure it's clear, all right? I'm not here, standing here, trying to convert any of you into an African, or trying to, I don't know what, make you believe what you've been rejecting to believe. Once a slave has fallen in love with his master, leave them alone. I'm a living proof of that. My ancestor entered the family, he remained Fang. He married Fang. He fought for Fangs. All of our Fang kings, after king number 6, They all die for the funds. Is to tell you, we are wasting time trying to educate these ones. There are two groups. Those who get severely damaged, who are completely irretrievable, and those who came from the covenanted bloodlines. Our fallen warriors, our fallen kings, our fallen priests, our fallen elders, educators, and everything. Those who, no matter what a strange man or strange woman come and tell them, Africa is home. Africans are his cousins. These are the ones we want to see more coming out. Because I know that on board of these ships that left the coast of Africa, these cargoes just didn't carry peasants. These cargo carried our future kings, our future priests, our future teachers, our future mentors, our future everything. Anybody worthy needed to run a kingdom, they were on board of those ships. And my grandfather told me, our blood is unbreakable. So may the lions, the leopards, and the black panthers start roaring because there's fire in the jungle. But since the name of our ancestors were brought up in your life, I have to come and give you our truth. Because if you just really seek at the soul level, that there's an African in you still seeking for answers and just in pain and need healing, then my message would be for you. But if you're just a devoted slave that is ready to do every and anything for the master, including go get the sword with which they will sever his head, you can already click and keep going. All right? Yeah, so we have that in common. Can we agree? We are both descendants of slaves. But unlike your ancestors, FBA, mine learned how to run a kingdom. So you saw the other video, that other guy, he went and found his mother, the white woman, to come and teach him about the history of his own ancestors. So those of you who have a Khan, if you have a Khan in your bloodline, that guy was described, that guy brought that white woman to teach you how, according to him, 20 unharmed Danish boy cracked the Akan and led them to sell the entire people. But what I know, Akan are Bantus. For those of you who don't know, marriage was used in the past as pact of non-aggression. None of us, in our crown, we don't have foreign blood. Some kings, when they arrived, they thought that by forging alliances with them, will keep them from attacking them. So if you hear her talk about marriage was a strategy they used to enter and break through. There's another tribe in Gabon. Of all these tribes you see, some of them were organizing the kingdom, and others just lived like that as a tribe. All this tribe in what is now today's Gabon. The two ones you see in red are the ones who compromised, okay? If you come to Gabon, there's only one king that is recognized. This is an indication. Don't pay attention to the nonsense he's telling you. The archaeology of the land will always tell its history. So if you go in countries where they almost like no king existed, they had no kingdom, it was just know that they wipe out everybody of leadership over there. Okay? Like in Gabon. Look at all the kingdoms there were, but you go to Gabon today, there's only one king that is honored, that appeared in history books, that has a statue in town, and is the king of the Pongwe. Betrayed. Out of all these tribes, these one betrayed. They gave them a foothold at the door of the fence, where they loaded and prepared before striking us each time. This is the Pongwe. And the other tribe in the south that betrayed, it was through marriage. They gave their princess to a white man according to the law in Bantu land. If the heir to the throne is a woman and you marry her, you become automatically king. Spiritually, you have the same authority as she is to rule over the people. That's why in some Bantu tribe, we were no longer crowning women because he left that open. So what happened to the Teke there? They gave the ugly princess to marry to one of these white guys. And what did he do? When he became king of the Teke, he did what your former masters do. They backstab you. So he rose to the throne of the Teke and invaded 11 other kingdoms around. What do you think he did of the people? Dispose of them. He mentioned about people who was collaborating with the enslavers and found themselves in the ship too. Yes, It was your fathers who were collaborating with them. And as the master always do, they backstab, okay? You hear a nuisance in America because you were a nuisance back at home, even before they threw you in that ship. A normal kid would ask this question to his white mother instructor. Madam, you speak of marriages. So your people married into our tribe. How come you were still harvesting our people to send off to slavery? Because per the African, marriage is the fusion of two families, two clans, two tribes becoming one. This is what a normal kid would ask. So our people opened up their homes to you. You married and you still took their siblings and their family members into slavery. That should bring outrage in the heart of a normal son or a normal daughter. But oops, my bad. Many of our people in America are no longer normal because you have become narcissistic. You distinguish yourself from your parents because you think you are some kind of special breed. But let me burst your bubbles. Our king had no business selling knuckleheads like you. Our kings were sitting in gold. Our kings who crossed the continent, they were so rich. They were the richest kings on earth at that time. They were making it rain in gold pebbles. What did they have to gain? To sell their children. But this generation is the only generation dumb enough to believe it. They go and dig. All the teaching they bring is always from the white man's perspective. Let me burst your bubble. You are not that special for anybody to sell you for anything. Disrespect yourself. Don't disrespect our forefathers' legacy. Don't do that because you're cursing yourself. You're attracting disrespect, humiliation, shame onto yourself. And you have no backing of our ancestors because our ancestors, they act after they pass just like they were in life. None of us can insult our parents, repudiate them, and still go home. They will banish us. So many of you are banished and live a creepy life because you no longer have the backing of your ancestors. Your master had to get to your brain, spirit, and soul to defeat you, and he won. But you're free to fall in love with your master. And he speaks volume about you. He speaks volume that you're a very vile person. I understand after so long, a slave can fall in love with his master. A slave sees in his master a father or a mother after a while. That's what my ancestor did. After a while, when it was time for him to go, he said, I don't want to go, I don't want to leave, master. I found in you a father. And what did my ancestor do? Took his luggage and put it back in the house and did the adoption ceremony as demanded by the tradition. I know that those of you who have made that choice is for life. I know what I'm talking about. We share that in common. Both of our ancestors decided to stay with their masters. And like our kind of slavery, yours is perpetual, okay? Because you were enslaved by savages.
Look at me, I'm older than confident. I can't beat me. I had 180 amateur fights, 22 professional fights, and I'm good as a girl. I don't get hit. I don't get hit. I'm so pretty. I'm so pretty. I shook up the world.
so easy.
Hey, ha. Boy, amen, amen, oh, can't take back here. You give me now your cool here. Let me tell them how the thing goes. How the thing goes. Okay. Chebe make a tamua. Say my kina go drink God. You want to bamba? You wanna G with the big boys? Now you the wrong, get the kitty, you the wrong, get a coffee drink with a chop cup. Hey, you can see how the thing goes. How the thing goes. Oh, you're telling me who and who? And who?
Of course, their white mother, they went and dug up and told them they never done anything, you know. It was the business of the Africans. That's what they were feeding off. Selling their people, selling each other, blase, da-da-da-da-da-da. No wonder you walk around with the feeling that you're naked. That's why you crave respect so much, to the point you will choke it out of people. You have a complex of inferiority, of course. If they bombard me with the teachings like this, oh, your people sold you, I will never feel love. I will never be able to feel loved, no matter what anybody gives me. That's understandable. This is not the state you left home. Okay, they broke you. If they got you running around acting all wild against your own people, you are a defeated African. Pick up the hatchet where your ancestor dropped it if it was in the battlefield, like mine, right? You pick up that hatchet and keep going. You should be the generation that doesn't miss the target. But you, what do you think you can do? Make your people a target, which would lead to your total destruction. Oh, FBAs, I don't know what your ancestors did around their masters, but my ancestor learned how to run a kingdom around his master. So it's in my blood to see that what you're starting is dangerous. Let's speak of security. So, you fell in love with a master who believes in order through chaos. That's his mantra. This is not a Queen Ingon invention. They believe in creating order through chaos. So, do you know that the situation that we are facing, this uproar, this unrest, you guys are manufacturing? That would give a good strategist an opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. Okay? I'm gonna give you the worst case scenario.
It's so easy.
Hey, ha. Boy, amen, amen, oh, can't take back here. You give me now your cool here. Let me tell them how the thing goes. How the thing goes. Okay. Chebe make a tamua. Say my kina go drink God. You want to bamba? You wanna G with the big boys? Now you the wrong, get the kitty, you the wrong, get a coffee drink with a chop cup. Hey, you can see how the thing goes. How the thing goes. Oh, you're telling me who and who? And who? Alright, take it easy and let's play some behind the waist. Okay. But no, we can't use. Go school, you go the fam tools. Another parameter says you want the fun too. See,